Hi, everyone. I am recording this on March 28th. This is about 2:30, and I am in my car. And the reason that I am out here instead of in my house is I don't want to disrupt the activity that is going on in our family right now. But I felt that I needed to talk to you from a personal standpoint about this COVID 19 and the fear that surrounds this situation. This season is so stressful. And it's stressful because everything is uncertain. There's so much unknown, and there's so much change in our routine. And it is so hard to get a balance about how you're going to do things now that you're not doing the things that you usually have done in the past. My own family has had quite a bit of disruption. My husband was laid off, and that's definitely a change. And of course, there's a change in the routine that I have set up to do in order to see people, and everything everything is so disruptive, and we have been limited as to some of the things that we usually do, and it makes it so much harder to feel balanced, to feel secure, to feel as if things are okay. So, as a physician, I am required, and all physicians are required right now, if before we see somebody, to ask them, number one, if they have been to any of the countries, if they've traveled in any of the countries that have a lot of COVID 19 activity, for instance, if they've been to China or Italy recently or South Korea or any of those, the ones. And then I am required to ask them and if they've been in any of the states here in the United States that are hotspots for COVID 19, New York, Washington, the ones. I ask them if they've been exposed to anybody who has been tested for COVID 19 and found to be positive. And then finally, if they have any symptoms, for instance, symptoms that we ask for are headache, sore throat, fever, cough, shortness of breath, anything like that. And then I am required at that point, if any of those questions are true, are yes, positive, and they are symptomatic, my responsibility is to get them to someone who can test them and help them with their needs. So, and I take my responsibility very seriously, and I don't hesitate to ask those questions and not to skirt by them at all, because their health may be they may need my help, and they may need somebody else's help. So on Wednesday of this week, this last week here, I did not feel good. I had a headache. I was congested. I felt fatigued. I just didn't feel like I normally do. And I would have normally just gone down my list of, okay, what did you do? What didn't you do? What do you need to do? And not worry about it. However, the same day that I didn't feel good, I received an email from a patient that I had seen 10 days ago, who had fever, sore throat, cough, severe headache, and decreased appetite, and just didn't feel good. And had been to the emergency room, They did a strep test, which was negative, and they did influenza, which was negative, and they sent him home and told him to just self quarantine and rest. Well, I think that we had corresponded probably 2 or 3 times a day, and everything that he said immediately made me think, oh no, he may have COVID-19 and I was exposed to him 10 days ago, and oh no, what does that mean? And thinking about all the people that I had been in touch with since then, and of course my family. And immediately fear entered my heart and my head, and I started to almost panic, but I had to stop. I made myself stop. And this is something that I have to tell myself all the time out loud: stop it, think, let's get back to the normal, basic things that you usually do. And as I started doing that, I recognized, number one, I was so busy over the last 24 hours that I hadn't drunk hardly any water. Now, I am generally a water drinker, but not a water lover. So it's hard for me to remember to drink water. And I recognized, number one, I hadn't drunk water. And so I knew that that can give me a headache and also a little bit more congestion. The other thing is that this is March 30, not 30th, 28th. And this is the last, almost the last week in March. And that is a very key thing because I have spring allergies. I usually don't take antihistamines. I usually treat it differently. And of course, I had forgotten that this was springtime and I had allergies. I wasn't running a fever, so I didn't need to be really worried, but I immediately went in that direction. And I think about all the people who also do. And this person just triggered that in me and made me go away from what I usually do to make sure that I am following the prescription in my mind of what I need to do. So I started drinking a lot of water, and in 24 hours, I was feeling so much better. And I recognized that it was mainly the allergies that I was experiencing. And as I talked to this person, I could tell that he was panicked also. And after about 6 emails, the question came up: should I be tested for COVID-19? And number one, I wanted him to recognize that he did not have the symptoms that qualified him to actually be tested for COVID-19. He was tested for the other things, and he was told to treat himself symptomatically. But when he called back to the hospital, they immediately put him on a Z-Pak, azithromycin, because that, along with hydroquinone and chloroquine, they are the medicines that people are using right now empirically when anybody tells them that they may have COVID-19 because they don't know what else to do. There is no other validated treatment for this particular virus. And it can be deadly. So he was started on azithromycin and had actually begun to feel a little bit better after he started taking the azithromycin. So he was actually doing a little bit better, had gotten better. However, I don't believe it was COVID-19. And but what he did was he finally said to me, "Should I be tested?" And I told him, "No, you don't need to be tested. You need to just self quarantine and watch and wait and see what happens." But my heart went out to him because I knew how much fear he probably had, because I was fearful. I felt fearful, and I knew better than to let this all get out of control like this. We have to remember that COVID-19 is not the only virus that is going around right now. It is not the only condition that we're dealing with. There are so many other coronaviruses. There is adenovirus. There is parainfluenza virus. There is RSV. There are about 19 different viruses besides influenza and COVID-19 that is going around right now. And anybody could have any one of these. If we panic and run to the emergency room, and just because we are afraid, it is going to tie you up, expose you to things that you don't need to be exposed to, and increase your fear. I'm telling you, because when they tell you, "Oh, you don't have strep and you don't have influenza," well, what else could it be but COVID-19 in your mind? It'll be so much worse for you. So, what I recommend is this: we need to definitely speak to someone about our symptoms first before we dash into the emergency room, unless we really do have symptoms that validate us going in there. So if you have chest pain, if you have shortness of breath, if you have a high fever, if you have difficulty breathing, if you're coughing, anything like, yes, you do have to be seen. Otherwise, start by doing the basics. Start by taking time and recognizing what else could be going on here. Have I not been sleeping? Have I been running around? Have I been doing things that I shouldn't be doing, or not doing things that I should be doing like I did? I wasn't drinking enough water. I wasn't paying attention to what I needed to pay attention to, and that's why I didn't feel good. I'm feeling fine. And this particular person is also feeling better. But I'm just saying that the fear is so contagious right now. And we need to really turn off the television, because if I spend time looking at Governor Cuomo and listening to what he says, and looking at all of the other places that are having all of these cases and these problems with coronavirus, I'm going to be sucked into it, and I'm not going to think clearly. Everybody, we all need to. And this is why I mentioned me, because I want you to know that even as a physician, even though I know better and I know all of these things, it's so easy to be sucked into the emotions. So we need to rest, stop, ask questions, think about the things that we could do, and do it in such a way that we actually make things better for ourselves and not worse. I am praying for everyone who is having issues with this coronavirus right now, who are really symptomatic or who are in the hospital. I'm praying for the doctors because they are so overwhelmed, the doctors and the nurses. And I'm praying for the families who are away from their loved ones. So let's take a deep breath and remember to reach out and be kind to everybody, recognizing that everybody is really going through something, and all of us are struggling right now. But there is hope. And I will give you some more information at another time about some of the things that you can do. I've tried to in the past, but maybe this is a more effective way. If it is, let me know. Okay? In the meantime, I hope you have a peaceful Saturday. Enjoy the time with your family and find something to do which enriches your soul. Take care. Have a good day. Bye bye.